my friend Jamie has a dance move specifically for Reflect.
Really?
Which we all learned in A-level, and then the first time we ever went to a club, we were just all doing this move like, around him, and it's like basically like windmill your hands and then like move from side to side, and it's like it just became like a default dance move for any of us, and I sometimes use it to like build up momentum. do the spinny hand reflector thing that Jamie does.
Hello.
What up?
Hi there.
And welcome to episode 26 of the Musically Challenged podcast.
I think this has been like the first time in a while where I haven't opened with a meme. Couldn't think of one.
Yep, I didn't. This is the first time in a while I've actually spoken straight away.
Yeah.
I think that's my meme.
I'm proud of myself. Yeah. That
Like I actually did an intro rather than just.
It was just a greeting, and that was it.
Being actual like regular humans is the biggest meme of them all, because we definitely
Meme of the month being
It's true.
regular.
Meme of my life, Kit Fisto. We were discussing before.
Alright, that's it.
So
It started.
we couldn't open with a Kit Fisto meme because he doesn't fucking say anything in any of the films.
Can't quote him.
And we can't smile because no one can see you smiling.
You
just have to do that.
We could
smile.
have said like, Julian, insert a gif of Kit Fisto.
Can we start again? Just be like, rather than my intro, can we just have Kit Fisto
Can
shine
you
up?
have right now?
And that's all it says.
Endless gif of Fisto, just like
We'll see.
like for the rest of the episode.
The endless gif of Fisto.
Maybe just up in the top left-hand corner, just a little Fisto with him going like
a little smile.
15-minute loop.
Oh, yes.
with his from him like force pushing someone.
Yeah.
He pulls back his
Tackle
light over and
clones.
gives a little grin.
Battle on Geonosis.
Lovely
Kit
boy.
Fisto's little grin.
Lovely.
Just
boy.
girly thing, just Fisto things. Oh, beautiful lad, beautiful guy.
Mike, what have you been
So
listening to this
yeah,
week?
let's actually transition onto a thing.
Taking the reins, boys, so we're not
Yeah, but you've
waiting
ceded,
around for
you've
20
you've
minutes.
ceded
So
your
I-
privilege of going first in this bit.
Indeed. Well, you've given me the privilege, which is very nice. So I think we've all got some common things to talk about.
Yeah.
About things that have been released this week and things we're getting hyped about. Before we do that, quickly, more Ween. Here's a Ween update. Like probably the like 5th week in a row. Ween update. I've been listening to the album called Quebec, and it's just it makes me smile. It's so well put together. It's less off the rails than some of the other bits, but like it's just if you know Ween, you love
Boy,
it.
howdy, do you know we?
Yeah.
There has been a housewide agreement that no more Ween shall be played in the kitchen because Mike always plays fucking Ween.
I love it. It's good.
It's just like, yeah, you love it.
I'm working my way through
like,
all the albums.
I appreciate it. No one else.
No one else. Yeah.
And they're just like, I can, because you were like, oh, it's just, it's just like they're drunk and it's weird and funny, and they're like,
Yeah.
we get the weird, but we don't get the funny.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's
That's
not
fair.
funny about a song which is just a 5-minute order of at some sort of taco joint?
Yeah, that's
Wait.
on their second album.
What?
They just have a song called, I can't remember what it's like Palo Astro or something. It's just a guy who's like, I have the chicken.
I have a number 9.
It's literally the number 9 before the number 9 was the number 9. And I'm like, oh, it's so good.
It's just a really elongated
It's like
order of a fast food joint.
like a convoluted order that just goes wrong. And it's just like the most casual thing. It's beautiful.
Good lads.
I love
Food
it.
recordings.
And Quebec, just so good. The last half, it's very sort
It
of
is a nice
Floydy.
country.
Well,
It's not a
Part of a
country,
country.
it's part of a country.
Quebec, my favourite country.
Yeah, I love Quebec.
I love the Quebecians.
Fucking hell, I'm
the
tired.
Quebecian people. They're my favourite native.
My brain is probably on about 30%.
Well, the Quebecians gave
Time
us...
to do the podcast.
Are Arcade Fire from Montreal?
I think they're
I think they are, yeah.
From somewhere
Godspeed
in
as well.
Canada.
Canada. Canada. Anyway, so Ween.
Canada.
Listen to Quebec.
Canada's
It's
ace.
really solid.
I mean, people make the meme of, well, Canada's given us so much bad
It's the next country I'd live in after
Mate, Canada's given us
After
so much
the UK.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Canada's given us
They've
like,
got
a lot of
people
my
ain't
favourite
woke.
ones.
Yeah.
People ain't woke. They don't
Yeah.
realise all the good shit that's come
Stay
out
woke.
of Canada.
We're going to talk about
Like
some of it
epic
later.
mealtime.
And moose. Just in
Maple
general,
syrup.
the concept of a moose.
Canada
pretty
invented
good.
the moose.
They did.
Yeah.
They were just like, we need
something
we
to be
need a-
loose about the hoose.
we need a flipping
I know.
great animal.
I think we can all agree.
What can we have? You know, deers are pretty good, but I got a better idea. Beef it up.
Yeah.
Make the antlers fucking mega. There you go. You got a moose. and it's a boot.
You're listening to the Moose Appreciation Podcast. We're on Moose Watch week 26.
You're listening to the Sam is Very Tired podcast. Have a guess of what hour we're recording this.
Yep.
Hint. It's not early.
It's 9:30. That's the hour. No need to guess.
PM.
I told you.
Almost past my bedtime.
Indeed. Nearly. Squeeze it in.
Hope my mum doesn't hear this. She'll get mad.
Yep. That's fair. Gotta go to bed early. So, Julian, what have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a band who I've mentioned to you. I think both of you, but I was going to mention last week.
What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? I've been listening to a band called Coil. Really weird, I guess, electronic group. Bit of industrial stuff in there. An album called The Ape of Naples, which was released shortly after the lead vocalist's death.
Yes.
And features him giving a very eccentric performance throughout. There's all sorts of weird imagery and like blood-curdling, almost vocal performances.
You played me some of it, and you
It's-
say that.
it has overtaken one of this week's subjects as like the spookiest and most horrifying album I've ever listened to.
Yeah, I can understand.
It
that.
is,
But it doesn't sound dreary, like on edge.
It doesn't
dark
sound
the whole way through. It sounds.
It sounds measured.
Appealing.
It's measured
Yeah.
in its darkness and the
There's just
dread
something
and the
about
fear.
it that's like not right.
It's incredibly well done. It's
So I'm intrigued to listen to it
is
also.
pushing my top 20
Fair.
ever. I think
Fair.
it's utterly brilliant. And
Ape of Naples.
I found a CD copy that wasn't fucking horrifically expensive.
Yeah, you
which
said.
made me very happy. So yeah,
Good.
I've been listening to that, and of course I think can we now address what we
I think yeah.
Yeah, I think elephant in the room. Let's get this.
My listening segment will be these 5 tracks. Ooh, 4 new Gorillaz tracks and 1 new Kendrick track.
Oh my god.
King Kendrick
He's
King
back.
Kendrick.
He's back.
How
He's
is music so good right now?
April
So exciting.
7th, boy.
to get your shit together.
April 7th is
Yeah.
when hopefully an album will be
We'll see.
releasing. I'm bloody hoping so.
I mean, yeah.
Because, like, you know.
We haven't been around for
This
this.
is a Part 4 single
Yes.
been released.
Well,
Taking shots at people.
Possibly. I think
Not sure
people
who.
are thinking
Speculation
either
is-
Drake or Big Sean.
Yeah.
Apparently they've been
Shots fired.
him and Drake have been
Talking shit.
yeah.
And basically, you know, Kendrick puts Drake in his place.
Yeah, he does.
Because, I mean, Drake's new, not album,
Playlist.
is basically trying to be Untitled Unmastered, but from what I've heard, it's
Yeah.
shit
Yeah.
compared to Untitled Unmastered, which is, ooh, it's good.
2, 3.
It's trying.
I am the greatest rapper alive.
Yeah. I don't dispute that.
He's getting an ego on him, but he
He deserves it.
deserves
He's
it.
earned it.
He's earned the ego.
Ego.
Like, ego. There's an eagle in my mind. Sorry.
Nice.
Mixing things
It's
up.
a good segue.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we should segue yet because we need to discuss
Good
Gorillaz
segue,
as well.
We need to, discuss the
Because we have
release Gorillaz tracks.
varying opinions. Of
Yes.
these.
Yeah, we do.
So there were 4 tracks released: Andromeda, Saturn's Bars,
Yep.
We Got the Power,
Yep.
and
Ascension.
Yep.
all with features on them.
Yep.
And
Pretty
I
mixed
guess-
bag.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
very
mixed
varied.
bag. Which I like because you know it's it kind of shows that the album, which is going to have about 20 tracks on it, from what I've heard, will, you know, it'll be nice and varied.
I mean, this is a positive when we were talking about Demon Days. We were saying we enjoyed how
There's-
varied it
There's
was.
something for everyone.
Yeah, and
Almost. And
these tracks sort of hint at that.
Yeah.
At the least.
And there's only really one which, after repeated listens, is the weakest, which is We Got the Power.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit lame, really.
I feel like I've heard a song with a similar kind of message.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
too many
it's
times
very
by now.
And it's like,
simplistic.
you know,
Yeah.
I kind of
I get it.
Basic.
I get what they're trying
Yeah.
to say, but the way they're saying it is so dull.
Yeah.
Lame.
But I think I saw that one would come at the end of
That is the
album.
last song on the album.
Oh, okay.
So-
that is track
That
20.
makes sense.
That
'cause
sort of
he
makes sense.
Because
But
they
still.
2 of them got aired on Radio 1 and they had Damon Albarn in the studio
Yeah.
talking to them.
Yeah. Go on, continue.
And yeah, he basically said the concept of the album, or what most of the album songs are based on, is like, what if on like just in one night everything changed and the world went into ruin, which was, I think originally they discussed that because of, you know, Trump being in the news and
Yeah.
the possibility of Trump winning the election, but also I guess, you know, Brexit and all that. So
Yeah.
basically I think they're going for an apocalyptic vibe
Yeah.
with this whole album. So I guess, you know,
But a lot of the
the
tracks.
final track on it sort of
Yeah. it's-
unifying everything and saying, you know,
Makes sense.
let's just be decent
Maybe
people
maybe
to
it'll be
one
better
another.
within the context of the
I
album.
feel like it will be, but we'll have to see how much
But
better
it
and
is a bit lame.
how much these tracks are tied together.
Yeah.
But like, I enjoyed them. Andromeda was my favourite. By
Andromeda, I really like too, but I was disappointed by the fact that
Yeah.
Dram was a feature on this album.
Yeah.
I was so excited
Yeah.
that Dram was a feature.
We were like,
and
whoa.
you can barely hear Dram. And I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, Dram's,
Yeah.
Dram's one of my
Speak up,
favourite. Dram's one of my favourite humans on the planet. And you know,
Yeah.
if he'd haven't had a verse in there, it just would have made me smile so much. 'Cause
Yeah,
he's
true.
such a happy dude, and it would have
it would
worked.
have been a good song for it.
It would have worked
It's quite
well
an upbeat song.
in the song because it's a, you know, there's a couple of songs off Dram's new album where he's, you know, like cute, where he's talking, because it's got this kind of,
It does
you know,
feel a bit like that.
romancy vibe to
Yeah,
it.
it's named after a nightclub, I believe, is what he said, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So obviously, like, pretty fun experiences
Yeah,
at a
so I
nightclub and
feel
stuff.
like,
Thinking back,
Dram could
Dram fit in.
lend a hand in this. He's got a nice voice. He could,
Yeah,
you know, a couple verses.
yeah.
That
But
would be nice. But,
alas, it was not to be.
Yeah, and then we got Ascension,
Ascension was my
which is
favourite.
quite short. It's only 2 minutes.
2.5, I
I
think.
liked it. That's
Really?
fine.
I
I-
liked it, but I felt it was repetitive.
No,
It's repetitive, and I think there's maybe, even though it's my favourite, I think that billing it as a Vince Staples feature is underselling it a little bit because he owns the track. I think his feature's really, really good,
Yeah,
but like
he does.
Damon Albarn barely gets any time at all, only
yeah.
like towards the end. But from what he delivers, I like his delivery. It matches the beat.
I really
I
like.
think they worked well with him on the, like. I think it's the one feature where it feels like it meshes really well.
yeah.
I agree.
Because Dram's one just feels
He's not. It doesn't feel
non-existent.
like he's there.
I liked.
Saturn's bars, was it?
I don't know what's. We got the Powers feature. I haven't heard anything by her. I've heard it's not
Jenny
really,
Beth.
Jenny Beth,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Jenny Beth Wen.
I've heard it's not really her style, but I thought she
I've heard that.
gave a good performance on it.
Yeah.
But then yeah, and then you've got Saturn's Bars where the don't know the name of the guy.
Pop Can.
Pop Can, yeah. Jamaican.
Basically just
Can.
owns
He does.
the entire.
Yeah.
I like the way
I
that.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, the feature took me some time to get around to, because it's one of these really unique voices. It was the same with Hallelujah Money, when that one
With
got
Benjamin
with Benjamin Clementine. It's like a really, really unique voice.
Yeah.
And it sort of, takes some getting used to.
And the mixing as well, because it doesn't sound like any other Gorillaz song.
No, it's
really.
true.
It's very sort of. It sounds like very Rasta.
Yeah, the only thing that sort of ties it to any sort of Gorillaz song is like the subdued moments where Damon Albarn's voice would come back in, which I really like.
Yeah.
Because he's just got a like on point voice, but
It's got a very nice sound to it as well. Sort of with the.
it's like
heavy
otherworldly.
bass.
Like the same with Andromeda, it's sort of got something about them that's quite spacey.
It is quite
Which I
spacey.
liked, but
I mean,
we'll have to see.
There's
how
a
the
bit of a
album ties
space
together.
theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
Andromeda, Saturn's
Yeah,
Bars.
exactly, indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's 2 whole songs
So
that
excited.
runs through.
excited for
Whoa.
that. Well, we'll see
Basically
about
a
that one.
concept album.
But yeah, like the most big news being King Kendrick.
April
Can't
7th.
wait.
Next week's scheduling and release might be
Yeah,
a little bit off.
yeah.
Yes. We
Kendrick project pending.
We might
Yeah.
suddenly have to just
Basically,
Kendrick.
basically the plan is if there is a Kendrick album that releases on the Friday,
All else.
our regular scheduling will be postponed till the week after, so we can give a sort of, I don't know what it's gonna be. There might be a bit of sort of reactions in there, but it'll probably be like a first impressions talk, and then
Pretty much.
maybe we'll revisit the album after we've listened to it more and got
If
more
we've
of
developed more thoughts,
because when I first listened to his like other stuff, you don't get the whole story, you don't work it all out, you don't put it all together until multiple listens, because I assume it'll be concept album. All his albums are concept album.
But hype.
I'm so excited. I'm just so
we'll
excited
see
to
what
hear
he drops.
More stuff from him.
He
is definitely the greatest rapper alive, as he puts it.
Yeah, well phrased.
Good lad. Right.
On to the shore.
On to the show. Let's do this. Sounds like a DJ segue.
I've never heard a radio DJ announce it like that.
Not a radio DJ.
On to the shore.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't know. I imagine
like
those things out of Shark Tale, like the jellyfish DJ. I just imagine those
You mean
DJs.
Bob Marley's.
Is it his?
It's his son's, I think, or his son voices both of them.
I think
Yeah,
so.
really?
I've actually heard that
It's either
somewhere.
his son or his son's voice the two.
Yeah.
Rasta jellyfish.
Rasta jellyfish.
God, that feels.
It's so atrocious. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked by Shark Tale.
What were we saying?
However
The best
much
soundtrack.
however much I want to get to get sidetracked by Shark Tale.
Yeah.
And also Shark Tale the game, and also Shark Tale the game.
The
The soundtrack. What a soundtrack!
Best music ever released.
Best game, best music,
Best game.
best times, best memes.
Yep.
Anyway,
So,
on to an actual album.
indeed.
Boards of Canada.
Oh, it's that
Finally.
time. Yeah.
Just don't make me
So,
boards.
I was speaking to
Canada.
Ollie today, and I was saying that we were going to do this album, Geogaddi,
Geogaddi.
their spooky one. So I said we were going to do this, and he was like, "Oh, like I swear you've done this already. Because basically about
We've teased it far too much already.
exactly
Wow.
the amount of times I've brought up like the fact that I've listened to Boards of Canada is like probably exceeding like 5 episodes."
I remember one week I said that all I'd listened to all week was this album basically as well.
So we like come back to it an awful lot, and there's a reason.
yeah.
Boards of Canada are just something else, basically.
Yeah. So they're an electronic duo
Yep.
from
Scotland.
Edinburgh in Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
And
not know that.
they do the IDMs, ambient techno, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's kind of just them.
It is
Very
that's the thing,
ambient.
because it's like very ambient-ish, but like there's something so like danceable, or like not danceable, but like there's something so like catchy about it.
Yeah.
I remember.
And it's insane. I don't know how they put it
I
on.
remember a while back reading. My dad made like a Facebook post which was like said he was listening to Boards of Canada on the way home, and like the album finished, and he didn't realize it had finished because he was just listening to the sound of the windscreen wipers. and he like it took him a while to actually realize like the album had completely ended.
Yeah. That
We've got
sounds
some
about
stuff
right.
to say about the end of the album, but let's
I don't
end of
think
this
he was
one.
listening to this one.
let's
just to show
take it in
that
order.
these boys do ambient.
They
do.
ambient, yeah. But
As we say,
otherworldly.
there's something catchy about the music they make, but it's not enough to make you get up and dance.
Yeah.
It's like perfect, like head bobbing music.
yeah, and this is why maybe why I listen to it so much. It's like perfect to program to for us,
Or to do anything
or
to.
to go shopping, or to do anything to.
Yeah.
I just love
Absolutely.
having it on. I like cooking with it on. It's just like one of these things.
Cooking with.
Cooking,
They need to make that album.
indeed. But yeah,
Yeah, go back to that instead of weed. so our housemates don't murder us.
yeah,
You come downstairs, plug in your iPad into the speaker,
speaker,
and everyone just looks
blast
at each other
the
like, wait, not weed.
Waving my dick in the wind.
Exactly.
You just hear a weird.
You're on fire tonight.
Whoa.
with
Yeah.
My
those.
voice is breaking. What is
should have
going
warmed up before
on?
we started. Don't worry.
I don't know if
Happens
that's.
to the best of
I
us.
don't know if that's and I'm definitely not the best. At this.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Boards of
before my-
Canada.
Boards of Canada. Boards of Canada.
So, this album, Geogaddi, it's...
I've just realised, sorry, we've got another Canadian-themed sort of...
We do, kind of.
Pseudo-Canadian-themed episode.
Stuff to
Boards
do
of
with Canada.
even though they're from Scotland.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, sidetracked you.
So it's an album that's just over an hour long, and it's definitely meant to be appreciated as a full album.
Yeah, definitely.
It's trippy as hell, psychedelic, and spooky.
That's spooky as well.
So, think 4 years before this, when they released, I think it was their full-length debut album, Music Has the Right to Children.
Which
and
was a groundbreaker.
everyone started to pay attention. Because
Yeah.
it was like, where are all these really weird drum sounds and samples coming from?
Yeah.
And why is it so hypnotic and
Otherworldly, ambient.
dragging me in so much?
Yes.
And then...
And why am I really liking it?
I really, really like it.
So, that album, while... these two albums, Geogaddi and Music Has the Right to Children, are kind of... people tend to fall on the I prefer Music Has the Right to Children side
Yes.
or on the Geogaddi side. And the people on the Music Has the Right to Children side ridicule those who prefer Geogaddi because they see it as blasphemy or whatever.
Which
But-
is understandable in regards to the fact that Geogaddi is sort of similar to Music Has the Right to Children.
It is.
It's like they found some, like honestly what seems like a magic formula.
Yeah.
Producing Music Has the Right to Children and like doing all these things we've been talking about.
Because
the ambience
I
and
guess
addictiveness.
the formula is sort of short interlude track, and then a longer form track which is more hypnotic
so
and grabs your
hypnotic.
attentions more.
Yeah.
Then an interlude, and then that keeps going.
Yeah.
But on Geogaddi, I think it's a little bit more nuanced. It
there's blurred lines
doesn't
there.
follow the pattern so much.
Yeah.
And I think the mood that it creates is more focused
Yes.
than the previous one.
I
Because
think so.
on Music Has the Right to Children, at some points I felt, uneasy, not quite as uneasy as I do when listening to this, but at some points I thought to myself that some songs meandered a little bit.
It feels
maybe
like-
in the second half.
See, the Music Has the Right to Children feels more like a sort of, I don't know, like walking on a sunny day. It's sort of just things just come and go. Sort of, and
It
it's
doesn't grab
nice
your
to-
attention quite as much.
Exactly.
I know it's still, ambient music.
Yeah, yeah. Like it feels more ambient than this, I'd say, because this has got like a.
It's got less of
tension
an
there or
it's got
something.
less of an identity.
Yeah.
I feel
This
But
feels like, I don't know.
there's a lot of occult themes.
Yes. So these are the things for me personally that make me prefer Geogaddi. I think it's very hard for me to choose, but like coming from the perspective of someone who wasn't like around and like wasn't listening to music when they released Music Has the Right to Children.
Yeah.
I like have the whole perspective of these are just all their albums.
Yeah, there's
I'm
no
just gonna
time
listen.
bias.
There's
Right.
no timeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just prefer Geogaddi for the reason of its atmosphere it builds. Like it's got a really weird sense of mystery. I remember when I first started listening to it, I just like fell into a rut of just listening to it so often.
It's like
And being in the mood to listen to it.
every track. Oh god, I'm gonna say another meme.
No, please.
Every track is so dense. It's
It's true.
It was like you just keep picking up more things.
Yeah.
You
and
do.
like
And the thing is, the depth of this album, like all these things that are there in the background, is spooky as hell sometimes.
Yeah.
There's literally a track called "The Devil's in
The devil is in the details.
and that's got a weird, satanic-ish voice that's somewhere in
It's got a really, really kind of crippled
Yeah.
woman's voice
That's-
saying
yeah.
stuff like you are being transformed in a healthy, positive manner, which sounds to me a little bit like she's trying to justify some sort of human experimentation in a dystopian future or something.
Weird shit, basically. But like, there's so much of these, like, because it's like you said, so dense. Like this album feels really dense, whereas their first one, Music Right to Children, felt airy.
A little
for
bit more,
example.
yeah.
So this one feels like really like, I don't know, thick with like atmosphere, basically.
Boy, thick.
yeah, but like what I liked about this album, I enjoy this album a lot more than I thought I was going to. Not because I thought, it's IDM, it's ambient, it's going to be boring. I thought like this is going to be good. I'm going to appreciate this, but it's going to be like it's going to put me on edge. I'm just not going to enjoy it. But like, it kind of felt more like it was definitely spooky. It was definitely freaky. There were things going on where I was like, "Oh, that's weird." But it felt more of like, I don't know. I would compare it to watching a film like Aliens,
Right.
Alien,
yeah.
where like it's a scary film, but you just love it.
Yes,
and it's so much fun to watch. Whereas
like
instead of like
being in the atmosphere of it, it's just fun.
Instead of watching just like a freaky, like really scary film that's just like
jump
you're just
scares
like
a minute.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I agree.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's like easy to jump into it.
Yeah.
Like,
It's very digestible, despite its length. I
think the way that it goes with like interlude, or like the way where it's like long track, short track, long track, kind of that kind of keeps a momentum to the album where things keep changing, and it's like like sometimes you'll stick with a theme for a little bit, but it won't.
Yeah.
Like nothing stays around too long.
Yeah.
I think is what makes it listenable for 66 minutes.
Yeah.
6 seconds.
And 6 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean that structure to the album.
Yeah.
The long short thing. It kind of feels like the thing is delivered to you in chapters.
Yeah, it does.
But it doesn't feel disjointed because of how smooth they do the interlude tracks.
Oh, they're silky smooth, and like the way it just develops, you just sort of go through different moods.
Yeah.
And like
It's got a very good flow to it. Like you say, while I think it's it's focused on having a spooky and I don't want to say dystopian, but there's
I feel like there's almost like a mythos there. Like it's like almost like one of these spooky like horror movie devices where you pick it up and like it's somehow like like Rings, for example. You watch the film, you're gonna die in 7 days, something stupid like that. It's got that sort of weird mythos about it, like something beyond an album, and like not necessarily it's gonna kill you in 7 days.
No,
because I've been listening to it for a long time. But like it's got that sort of weird sense to it, and I don't know. There's just something addictive about that. And maybe the thing that put me in the mood for this was the fact that I found out that the third track, "Beware the Friendly Stranger," which is only a 37-second long interlude track, is basically used on repeat on loop for Salad Fingers.
Yeah.
The creepy YouTube video that people became pretty interested in. Strangely addicted.
Series, thanks.
Oh, series, yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
By Weebles.
the Weeble.
Yeah, indeed.
He's a good lad.
Red Fingers.
Badgers.
Rusty Spoon.
Rusty Spoons. But like, yeah.
Strange.
Fox
That
That
Like,
series
good.
was intriguing, and it was the same sort of intriguing as this. This album was, and it just followed on for me. I just went from there and just like more and more just sort of tried to fall into all the weird mythos and like weird dense things that you pick up from in the songs.
Because all of the long form tracks, pretty much all of the long form tracks, evoke some kind of memory that I've had in the past. I think the most vivid one actually might be Julie and Candy.
Okay.
Which is in the first half, and it kind of goes against the grain of the whole thing being quite spooky by making quite a serene kind of atmosphere, and that I imagine like a really, really sunny day and like running through a field with really, really overgrown grass and just like being free.
See, I have the same thing with, I was talking about this before we started, Dawn Chorus, which is in the later half.
Oh yeah.
Which is just such a like sunny track. And I was saying this brings back like really clearly for me a memory of, I was in Spain, I think, and they've got caves that are like carved out and stuff, and they've got like a restaurant that's on a cliffside. And they usually have a band there, but when we went, I think, they just were playing stuff over the speakers. And I'm pretty sure they were playing Dawn Chorus over the speakers in the
It's
cave.
quite a strange.
That's what I was
It's a
thinking.
strange choice,
Yeah,
but
it's
like it's actually quite a serene track, and it sort
It's
of went like they were
gorgeous
playing ambient
track.
music the whole time, and it
Fair
fit.
enough. That makes
And but
sense.
like it's such a just gorgeous track, and I was like saying like it's just one of these things that just like comes out of nowhere. You're like, oh, I've heard that somewhere, or maybe you even haven't, but like it brings about like good memories of stuff.
But then you have, to compound the spooky feeling, you have a track like The Beach at Red Point, which at first it was the first point that I got hit with the future of humanity is going to suck, because the interlude track before it,
Energy warning,
it has this little kid basically giving a PSA about conserving energy, and him saying stuff like, if we don't start conserving energy, there may not be enough to go around by the time I'm a parent. And it's such a, despite the fact that the ambient instrumentation in the background is pretty minimal, it does nothing. There's no kind of deeper message to it, I think, other than just taking it at face value. And the beach at Red Point sounds incredibly... It reminds me of some of the locations you go to in Half-Life 2.
Okay.
My all-time favourite video game.
Yeah.
It doesn't... It's like where there's a dystopian future world, but as you go through the game, you go to all these locations and they're beautifully designed environments.
Yeah.
That's the kind of feeling that the beach at Red Point gives me.
I would agree. I would think that like this album as a general reminds me of quite a lot of Half-Life 2, where sort of you've got this overbearing like weird, creepy, dystopian theme, but like there are always bits that like sort of bring you up from this creepy vibe and sort of, that you can just be like, yeah, I enjoy this.
It's like definitely...
I like driving along on an airship.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's... Yeah.
Airboat.
Like airboat, yeah.
Airboat.
Through radioactive waste.
Through radioactive waste.
Fun
Shooting down enemies. That's fun.
It's good stuff.
Goes on for a bit too long, but that's alright.
But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
This might be a difficult question, but if you could pick out one of the long-form tracks that stands above the rest, is there one, first of all?
Hard to say. Maybe 1969.
Correct answer.
Which
Correct
is
answer.
just such a like ray of sunshine.
One of my favourite songs ever.
Yeah. It just the development on that song, the way it
Sex
pulls
to my
itself
ears. Like the
Oh, it did a sex
mixing
to
the.
your ears. Ooh.
He did an ejaculum in his...
This gets broadcast, Sam. Tell me more.
Fabulous broadcasting.
No, 1969 sounds. I think probably a lot of other people's favourites is Music is Math.
Yeah,
I like
Music as Math.
I like the sort of creepy vibe it gives off.
It gives you the creep vibe
Just
right at the end,
weird,
actually.
The weird like numbers just
and there's like crackling and stuff that
Yeah.
goes on that sort of puts you a bit like on edge. And there's like a weird like the numbers theme comes up a couple times, and like that album cover itself is like hexagonal like reflections basically.
The studio there at the Boards kind of recorded this and Music of the Right Children. It's called Hexagon Sun.
Yeah.
Which is where the name Turquoise Hexagon Sun, that song off of the first album, came from.
Yeah. But this is
they've continued the theme massively. Like in the liner kind of pictures thingy, there's all sorts of more hexagon-like reflections.
And they're creepy.
Which I might show right now on screen, because they're
creepy.
creepy as fuck. You got like a toddler's face being mirrored loads.
Yeah.
And then you've got more toddlers' faces being mirrored loads, and it's like,
that one is very creepy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it is.
But it sort of goes with the weird like
looks like an Aphex Twin.
sort of under your skin creepiness that this whole album has. Like
you say
mythos around.
under your skin. If we go back to Devil is in the details.
Yes.
Those noises feel like there's stuff creeping under my skin.
Yeah, they do.
Genuinely. Like, and the interesting thing is there's almost no percussion on the track. It's just synths and this weird, like really kind of.
It's more of the
subtle crackling
stuff, yeah, and it really like just gets under your skin, like we said.
Literally
crawling
in my skin.
These wounds they will not heal.
But like and like there's just a weird like occultness that builds up across this album due to like the themes of like really abstract themes of like just generally like mathematical patterns, like satanistic sort of stuff,
and the fact that the
stuff.
album is 66 minutes
and 6
seconds
Yes.
long, thanks to
the end
a
track.
bit of a pretentious album
1 minute
closer
and 46
and
seconds of silence. At the
So
end.
there are people on the internet
Yep.
who are convinced that there are noises on the song.
Nah.
From what I gather, someone has gone through the file and figured out that if you convert it to binary, it's all zeros.
Okay.
But there are people that are convinced that there's noise there.
I
Listening through before, I've thought the same thing.
Yeah.
Because
But I
of
mean,
how
it goes with the
unsettling the
mythos.
whole thing is.
that's what's
By the end of the
great about
album,
it. It's
you
got
understand-
like the mythos of like, I don't know, almost like a children's like spooky fairy tale, or a copy pasta.
That's what I'm thinking.
Sorry,
it does.
creepy
A
pasta.
creepypasta, yeah.
Creepypasta.
Yeah.
Not just any
It's
old
like-
copy pasta.
It is like a creepypasta album, and like it's got a weird like you just listen to it and you're like, what's going
You're
on
unsettled
here?
the whole way through.
You-
When I so what I do sometimes, like a lot of mornings, I put this on
Masturbate
once.
pictures of your carry on.
Yeah. Julian's laughing because he knows it's
For
true.
fuck's sake, Sam.
He's not
called it out.
denying it.
We've still not heard any denial. Yeah.
What was I saying again?
He's trying to sidetrack it. You're waking up.
I wake up.
Best part
Picture
of
of
waking
Bjork.
up.
First thing you see. You refuse to open your eyes until you can gaze upon a picture of Bjork.
But
And then what happens
post
next?
wank.
You good morning.
You listen.
I stick on Buzz Canada.
Yep.
I stick on this album. I go downstairs. I have breakfast in the kitchen. And usually I'm the only one up at that time. And I'm convinced every night because I've
2 a.m.
because I have full blown headphones on and I usually can't hear anything going on around me. While I'm listening to this album, I compulsively look over my shoulder.
Yes, I do that in this room.
Loads.
I do because you feel
This
like
album just puts me on that kind of edge
Yeah.
so much.
I'll be programming in here and I'll have my hood up and then I'll feel like
But make sure no one's looking at your code.
Yeah, well no, not that, but like you could literally
Plagiarism, guys.
Steal my shit.
this is an album you could both listen to on a sunny day and just be like so chill and like ignore it, not ignore it, but like not try to delve deeply into any of it and like have such a good time.
Yeah. Because
And then this is also
what
an
I
album.
did today.
Yeah, you can sit in your chair and then imagine that like fucking Satan spawned behind you and is like staring down at you and like really put you on edge. Like this album does both of those things.
It's a bad trip, man.
It's a bad trip, man. But yeah, like I can imagine if this album, if you did like I don't know a bunch of weed and then listen to this album,
Just as a wild example out of nowhere.
Nick Murphy. Trying to throw the show. Anyway, so, like, yeah, I can imagine like some of the samples would become much clearer and like really put you on edge. And,
What song are you thinking of, Mike?
But yeah.
like,
What song?
I could feel the sky.
May have you heard,
You've heard the
an
voices
extra
in.
song?
I've listened to the song "You Could Feel the Sky" before and picked up on a sample I've not picked up on before, which was very spooky. It said "Take my hand." It was in a female voice, and it was repeated throughout the whole song, and it was really like clear when I heard it. But I hadn't picked up on it before then, and from now on, I know that the sample's there, and I feel like this album's filled with.
You know what? That reminds me of like all the cases of what's it called, backmasking that bands have been accused of.
Oh,
So like probably most famous example is a metal band in the 90s called Judas Priest, who wrote a song and supposedly if you rewound the song you could hear someone saying the words do it now. And a couple of teenagers who were listening to it and who were suicidal heard that as they were rewinding it, and it caused one of them to kill himself.
jeez.
And Judas Priest got taken to court over it because they were accused of intentionally putting those messages, backmasking the messages in there
Yeah.
for that reason. And of course, they won the case. It was completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's like
But that's what that reminds me of, anyway.
This is what.
that's like Lavender Town.
Yeah.
Yes!
And then-
Yes!
those sorts of songs are like the feel of this album, like that sort of creepy pastor-esque sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Spooky.
just so spooky.
Dum, dum,
Doom,
Oh,
doom, doom, doom.
I'm a youth. I'm gonna kill myself. That's what this song makes me do.
Like Lavender Town thing
Spook'd.
still freaks me the fuck.
I don't like going there in
I,
Pokemon games.
this
It's
is
like,
like
oh, heckin' spooked.
Whoa.
But yeah, like I bet there's some interesting stuff in here if you played it backwards. Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't, intentional
I mean, there's
or
interesting
not.
stuff playing it forwards. Like,
Yeah, exactly. You don't even need to play it backwards to get this occult weird feel to it. You just listen to it.
You were saying how it's kind of, it feels akin to kind of a children's fairy tale in a way.
or like a creepy pasta.
Yeah.
There's a bit which kind of gave me like a kind of child's like educational program vibe. I think it was A is to B is B is to C.
Yeah.
There's a sample of a guy who's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now in Spanish then in French, which sounded like it was taken from. It's got this really weird kind of very trippy.
This is sort of part
like
of
flute bit
Boards of Canada's
as well.
aesthetic a little bit, particularly on Music as the Right to Children. Like they always had the almost public service broadcasting, but in a very, very different way.
Oh, yeah.
Theme.
Because at the end of Music as the Right to Children, they said stuff like, if you can be told what to
Think and
what to
feel,
read or whatever it is, you
yeah.
can be told what to say or think.
Yeah.
That was kind of a very political little undertone to add in there, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think there's. I think this album is a bit more up to interpretation, your own interpretation.
Oh, definitely.
And I mean, they've
confirmed.
To harken back on the sort of public service broadcasting kind of vibe to it.
Broadcasting.
I don't know the name of the track, but it's talking about like diving.
Diving station.
That would probably.
Or there was Dandelion.
Dandelion.
Yes, where they talk about a crew putting together a device to capture a dandelion in one piece.
And then they talk about volcanoes as well.
In the one piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's got that
Lava flows underwater. It behaves differently.
That definitely reminded me a lot of public service
Yes.
broadcasting.
Yeah.
it's definitely a sort of
I
aesthetic.
don't know, but it's got a different feel to it though.
Much
Just
different.
because of like the background instrumentals, Julian's just had a epiphany.
There's one line on Dandelion which sums up the entire album for me.
Okay.
And how this album feels, and that's when the guy says the preparation for a tough time is always a tense time.
Yeah.
This entire album is like it feels like kind of preparing for the oncoming
Right.
apocalypse,
It could be exactly.
if you like.
Kind of feels like.
Probably not the best way of putting it, but it's
I don't know.
It's tense the whole way through.
Yeah, it is. But like, it's so chill and ambient as well. Like,
Some songs put you in a blissful
It's
mood.
the atmosphere.
Even the interlude stuff.
yeah,
Like
rather than like a
In the Annex or
like
The Smallest Weird Number.
yep. Salad Fingers one. That's like
Beware
pretty
the Friendly
spooky.
Stranger.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
a
just
pretty
the title
spooky
alone.
message. I know. But it's just so intriguing. Like so intriguing.
freaky.
It's like one of these like I don't know like morbid obsessities. Is that a word? Obsessities? Obsessions.
Obsessions.
Yeah.
And
Morbid obsession sort of
Yeah,
things.
that's
that
kind of
humans
why
get
I was
sometimes.
like, kind of, sort of hesitant going into this album because I don't know why, but the sort of all the like creepy pasta and like creepy spooky fairy tale things, they just creep me out.
Yeah.
Like more than usual for some reason. I don't know.
I'm
why.
legit the same.
And I'm just like, stuff. I'm like reading the track listing. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. I'm a bit scared because I mean, we watched like Alien, The Babadook, and stuff like that, and I'm like, a bit freaked out.
But like, there's something goofy about them that you can laugh at.
Yeah, like when the alien pops out with jazz hands. I'm like, it's like, oh great. And then like. Yeah, all of the mystique of the film where you're like, oh, this feels like so real, and then you're like, and then he just jumps out like, and you're like,
hello, Marty.
It's like,
hello, my
oh, wait.
down girl.
Yes, this is quite an old film, isn't it? Where they didn't have very in-depth animatronics to make it actually move.
Yeah, they just had a guy in a rubber suit with little rubber arms that bounced around when he jumped out. But yeah, no, I agree. But like this album, I genuinely like really, really love it, and I love coming back to it all the time. Even though I'm like exactly the same as you, I just get creeped the fuck out by creepypastas and things.
But it's not a kind of creepy that lives with me after I've listened to it.
No, same. It's only when you're listening to it.
Yeah.
And then you're like reminded, like, oh, there's some dark like stuff here somewhere. You just sort of feel it. It's just genius.
I haven't said, but I really wanted to say it. My favourite thing about Boards of Canada's music, not just this album, but most of the stuff they do, is their drum sounds. They sound like absolutely nothing else I've ever heard. All of the like the bass drum hits, they're clouded in a kind of muddiness that it sounds like they're almost being suppressed. All of their drums.
Yeah.
And like this like I can't even tell if like what I think are like snare hits are like snare hits or like hits on a tom without the kind of rattling bit underneath. They just sound so bizarre. Like
they get so many odd sounds.
Yeah, I'm sure they
like for example
they mixed it with some weird stuff.
There's like almost weird catapult.
That's what I was thinking. It's like a slingshot.
Yeah.
Like with rubber stretching
It's
back.
just so odd.
So creative and odd. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But like fantastic.
Yeah.
And
it's bloody
they
good
do it
music.
all over the place. Yeah, and Boards of Canada, they know what they're doing.
They do. Good.
And in
plans.
fact, apparently, Geogaddi, the weird word that is the title of this, is apparently got a meaning. Obviously.
Right.
They say they've confirmed that there's a meaning there, so it's not just.
I didn't know they did interviews.
They don't really.
No.
That's like.
Their Twitter's dead too.
They live the like mythos of themselves.
Yeah.
Almost, which is part of it. It's just so like intriguing.
What is the meaning?
You can't help.
Or have they not told anyone?
They've not told anyone.
Of
They've
course
just
not.
confirmed that there's a meaning. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's one of these things.
Fair enough.
People are always going to try and dig deep into these sorts of mysteries.
Yes.
But that's the appeal of it. Yes.
So, moral of the story, go listen to
Listen to it.
Yeah, listen to
Geogaddi
it.
by
Try
Boards of
Try
Canada.
not to get too spooked.
Don't
Maybe
get heckin' spooked.
Take a pillow with you just in case you get a little bit too scared.
Indeed.
And
Hide behind the sofa,
Or
maybe.
or you know,
Not
stop
like that.
halfway through, put it in the fridge. All be good.
Or just like listen to it when you're shopping. That's what I do. It's not spooky when you're, you know, going around Co-op trying to pick up sausages.
Yeah. And you're like, where are the rusty spoons?
But you still enjoy it. Yeah.
it's a classic.
It's a classic. Love it.
Good.
One of my favourites. Applaud.
Obviously, Sam
Applaud,
doesn't
Sam,
like...
applaud.
Oh, that's a very light clap, but... Yeah.
Yes. Hats off to them. They made it spooky.
My boys.
I tip my
Tip.
fedora to it.
My Waluigi cap.
Just want to make it known I don't actually have a fedora on. I'm not that mentally handicapped.
He says...
good, though.
I mean, I'm pretty handicapped, but you know, not to that extent.
Pretty handicapped.
I didn't. That one didn't.
No, that one didn't do it.
There have
but
been
I just
worse
wanted to
ones that
remind
we've
you.
glossed over.
I just wanted to remind you.
Oh,
You didn't at all.
weird. Can't.
What are you talking about?
me.
Your impression's on point. Anyway,
Thanks, mate.
should we,
Shall we move
shall
on?
we transition to
Shall we?
another Canadian band? Oh, I'm wrong.
A Canadian band.
Nyan Bill.
Neon Bibble, but okay for
Good for...
Tim's
Good.
guest review.
The second album.
Yes.
Really should have gotten a fire extinguisher by now, but you know,
Yeah.
they hadn't.
The Arcade
so
Fire's still
Arcade's
burning.
still on fire. Come on,
Yeah.
boys.
Yep.
We've almost lost Pac-Man.
still on
Indeed.
fire.
Nice.
Shut up.
Shout out.
Shit band anyway. Moving on.
Ooh, shots fired.
Take that, Kings of Leon. you just got atted by someone with, by fucking 37 subscribers. I'm shit. Technically,
Wait,
you
this will show
should
that.
take a third of that.
That's good perspective for us.
Destroyed. Just gonna hop onto Wikipedia now. Start up a new section of Kings of Leon. The downfall of Kings of Leon.
All started
After
on
the-
March the 27th, 2017.
After the horrific roast by Julian Lawrence, member of the musically challenged
You
podcast,
created that shit.
the world-renowned musically challenged podcast.
He uttered the words, and they were no more.
Shoot, bam.
Shit, man. Boom. Yeah, you said it. Boom.
Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, I see it.
Right.
So yeah.
Where were we?
Talking about
So their
Leon
second album.
Yeah.
This was released in 2007, 3 years after their first album.
Funeral, which we've
Funeral,
talked about,
which we've talked
which
about.
was quite good.
Which is second favourite album of all time.
Instant
Oh no,
classic.
actual favourite album.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Understandable. It's fucking genius, and very, very introspective, and that's where this one differs.
A lot.
Bible.
They're
A
kind
lot.
of twins, but like different.
very far separated twins. So yeah, so like this one, as we're alluding to, is not as introspective. It's more of a, as the first track would hint, sort of social commentary sort of track.
Absolutely.
First track being called Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
So that's pretty much what this album like intends to do. It holds up a black mirror to society and shows us what could go wrong, and you know it's Win Butler and co speaking out about these sorts of things.
You say Win Butler and Co. This, I know it's become more apparent recently, but I feel like this maybe is the first time that I know it's still quite early on in their career, but I feel like this is a hell of a lot more of a Win Butler project
I can understand that.
than a collective one.
Yeah.
Kind of like what happened with Pink Floyd when Roger Waters took over and his political
Right.
leanings got the better of him.
Yeah.
This album gave to me a little bit of an air of maybe a bit of an ego taking taking hold. Not too much.
I can understand that, like, because you know, if you're doing an outward-facing album, you're always going to have the critics say,
Yeah.
"Oh, what right do you have to tell us?"
Yeah, of course.
So like, that's always
As
gonna be a
much as
factor.
anyone else,
Yeah.
by the way.
And another factor is that his wife, Regine, who was featured very much on the last album, is not so much on this one.
She does sing a little bit.
She does, yeah. But she's not given like a big, like, for
She's
example,
not
the
given
last track.
on in the backseat.
Yeah, to knock out of the park, which she did in the backseat on the last album. But here she's like an accompanying voice.
Yeah.
With Win, and co. But yeah, like as I was saying, this album it's like an underrated underdog favourite of mine from Arcade Fire. I think.
I
really like it.
It took me out of the three of Funeral, Suburbs, and Neon Bible.
Yes,
It's definitely took the longest for me to appreciate, but once I appreciate it, I think I like it more than the Suburbs now.
I think I do too.
I just...
There's like the Suburbs, as certain tracks would hint, to use a pun, is like really sprawling, basically. But like it literally is, like the album is sprawling, and it goes back to themes of like the neighbourhood from
The
Funeral.
neighbourhood.
Whereas this one is like a sort of different thing, and it's like more. It feels concise and like solid.
Yeah. And although it's still Arcade Fire, it's definitely got a different sound to it.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
It's more bigger, a lot bigger.
Yeah, bigger.
More
it
grandiose.
It feels, well, more sort of religious as the...
Yeah.
Well,
let's say with,
So-
you get like...
The album cover.
You get organs.
Organs, especially on My Body Is a Cage.
Yeah.
And, like
At the start of
the
Intervention
album
as well.
cover and name, Intervention.
Right at
Yeah.
the start.
Exactly. There's like so much religious based stuff. Funny enough, could you guess where they recorded this?
Church.
Yeah, it was in a church. So I think
That was a wild guess.
yeah, I threw you out there.
He's done it!
He's actually done it.
The
He
madman!
made the
So
guess.
I think the thinking was behind this album that like Funeral was very much felt like stuck in their neighbourhood, like and surrounded.
It was a very personal album.
Particularly with like Seven Kettles, it felt like people were just like frail people were
It was sad.
at risk and like vulnerable in their neighbourhood and stuff. Like particularly old people they mentioned and stuff. And here, as alluded to on one of the tracks, we'll get to it later. It's more of a like escape to nature and escape to something that's not suburban.
Yeah.
And it feels like that's what this is. It's more of a religious experience, and hence they recorded in church as part of the like
Vibe.
the vibe exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a theory about this album, which I want to know if you agree with it, which is the end of the album
Yes.
is very not anticlimactic because the songs are all good,
Yes.
but the flow of the album is disrupted by it builds up
We've been saying
to
this for a
No
long
Cars
time.
Go, definitely one of the best songs on the album,
Yeah.
and then it goes straight into My Body Is a Cage,
Which is a good song.
which is a great song, and
Yeah, it's a great song.
great ender because it's so grandiose and explodes halfway through.
But his voice carrying it.
The start is so slow compared to the ending of No
Yes.
Cars Go, which is
It builds and
racing,
builds and builds,
and then
yeah.
just hits you with this like it feels like you've just jolted to a stop.
It does.
And I think the album would have a better flow
Yeah.
if My Body Is a Cage was the first track
I agree.
instead of the last.
I agree with that, yeah.
I listened to it where I put it on repeat and started from My Body Is a Cage, and I think it worked a lot better.
Yeah.
I can imagine people being a little bit put off if they just heard Funeral and then heard My Body Is a Cage right at the start.
Yeah.
Because it does
but
take it's
You
a
don't release it
wildly
as a
different
single.
tone.
Yeah.
You release different
Oh no, of
singles,
course
but
not. It's just that
I can see, yeah.
Of course, it'd be the first
kind
thing
of-
people listen to.
Introduces you to the I don't know.
religious sort of thing,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, with
And the
with
grandioseness.
organs and like
Yeah.
just the like I like the idea of I like it when the first song on an album has like an explosion halfway through, a lot like our
Merriweather.
Lord and Saviour,
Yeah.
Merriweather.
Yeah.
Because it kind of reminds me of like films. It's sort of
Right.
when that
I get
explodes,
you.
I kind of feel like in my mind that's when like the
Titles.
titles
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
show up.
Boom.
Shark Tale!
Merriweather
like,
Post.
boom, you know.
Yeah.
B
I can agree
movie.
with that. Well, I definitely feel like My Body Is a Cage feels like a huge outlier and like a massive change
Yeah.
of pace that feels like not quite right when you listen to it.
Yeah.
And that's mostly because all the tracks before it, right up until No Cars Go, build like so much momentum and like themes like to do with cars, like the second track, Keep the Car Running, Carry Over, and it just feels like so concise.
What a song.
Sam's a lover
One of
Keep
my
the Car
personal.
Running. I love it as well.
I'd basically any song with car on this album is just
On point.
a personal fave.
Yeah. I was the same, but with the word black instead. And also honourable mentions to so many others.
Yeah.
So I pretty much listed the whole album.
Yeah, pretty much.
When I said my favourites.
Yeah. My favourites are every song on the album.
I really like this one. I really like this one. That's a track by track, everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I just think it's really like even Funeral, right, which is like straight masterpiece. We can all agree was like divided into essentially two sections, and we discussed this when we did the podcast.
Yeah.
Whereas this one feels whole.
Yeah.
Which is why I like this aspect of it as like an Arcade Fire album. It's like, oh, I can go to this one and it's like a whole full thing. Whereas Suburbs is too sprawling and like Reflector is like two separate parts.
Yeah. The only song which I feel that brings it down, and this might just be a personal thing, is Black Wave.
I love Black Wave.
Love Black Wave as well.
There's something about the start of it which the singing at the start annoys me. So I skip it. The bad vibrations, that bit's great. But I don't know, I just like don't enjoy that bit of the
It does seem like there's something a tiny bit off kilter about it. But I really enjoy it. I really love Black Wave.
I just,
as said earlier, that's like one of my favourites. Yeah.
I don't know.
Nah.
It's just become like a, I don't know, because it starts with again his wife's voice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
which because
yeah, it's his wife's voice and then his.
Because I also used to do that with what's it, the one on Funeral Sons.
They Sans Lumière.
Yeah, that one.
That's it.
That's a great song.
Both of those songs, I feel like they start sort of with a weird bit and then like grow into a good song. But I'm impatient. I'm a terrible person, so I go next.
Yeah.
You need to be really in the mood for a 20-minute song, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
But none of these are 20-minute songs. These are all, under 5 minutes or slightly over.
Yeah.
But I think
the rest of the album, me like it.
Yeah, I just think it's like the pacing is pretty great. I think so. I haven't picked up on that, but like the flow of it's really nice. A lot of it's
so many just like memorable moments, and I think I like in our funeral episode I said like I never really like listened that much to the lyrics, but the lyrics in this one I feel like they've stuck with me a lot more.
Yeah,
because they're more sort of, like you said, they're sort of more critical of society and stuff like that. Like when you've got thingy television blues, can't remember.
Antichrist television blues.
Blues. That one's like, I don't know.
I really love that.
That one's like such a great song.
Yeah.
It's like, it's quite it feels sort of a change of pace at that point in the album, because it just goes like starts with only acoustic guitar.
Yes.
And you just sort of ears perk up. You're like, ooh,
yeah.
What's this? And then, and then I can't remember the name of the song. The one where it's probably the most like personal, or like the song is sung from the most personal perspective about a guy who's very Christian, and he's sort of talking about like
intervention.
Be a good Christian man,
I'm a good Christian man, and then like later on, descends into I'm a God-fearing man.
Yeah,
and that sort of hit me.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh, that's a message.
That's a good one.
That's
a message. That's deep.
One of my favourites, and this goes along with the like whole grandiose thing, is Well in the Lighthouse. That's sort of one that's a bit in two halves, a tiny bit, but more because it descends into like what's essentially like disco sort of mixing of sounds almost, and like that goes along with the whole like getting too big for our boots sort of like, this is our social commentary, we're gonna play things up now, like I don't know the word for it, but like it sort of gives off that like sense of making statements that are too big for yourself and just sort of
a little bit
not taking it entirely seriously. And that's because it descends into this sort of disco thing, like I said, like the stakes seem to get higher and higher, like comedically so basically. I think that's a good part of the mix because that's part of your criticism.
Yeah, I felt like at points, and I have to say I felt it on No Cars Go maybe more than any other song. I appreciate the transition they made from doing the kind of introspective and cozy sound on Funeral to something more bombastic like this.
Yes.
On No Cars Go, it hit me that they were almost taking it too far in how showy and how grand it sounded.
That song is very showy, but
It's
I
incredible.
feel like you earn it through the album.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I still have yet to get used to it because obviously I
constantly-
haven't been listening to this as much as
Yeah.
you. And what you were saying about like paying attention to the lyrics,
Yeah.
I've started to do it with how much I've been listening to it, but
Yeah.
I'm still not completely in tune with everything. And as you said, like it took you the longest time to appreciate. I can definitely see myself growing used to it more.
Yeah,
on subsequent
I've
listens.
grown to like really like. This is why it's an underdog favourite of mine. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
For this exact reason, and like a lot of the reason why No Cars Go feels like so right and like such a natural end is because there's so many like lyrical seeds planted earlier to do with cars and stuff and like escaping like suburban life. There's so many like the build up to it is gaining more and more momentum. It just like. No Cars Go, even if it is, like, as you say, over the top, slightly too bombastic, and, like, some of the lyrics are very simple, just like, little
There's
babies,
a space where
let's go. It's just
there's a space where
talking
no
about-
ships go or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I mean, no,
But, like,
I enjoy I enjoy the
it
message.
seems purposely
but
so.
It's sort of, I don't know, it feels like magical.
Yeah, it does.
This place where
You literally
nothing
feel
goes,
like
and then everyone's
Win Butler's on a bus. and
yeah,
everyone's
that's the thing. It's Win Butler's really over the top, like almost like army generals shouting.
know where we're going. So
yeah.
no,
I just go along with it though.
Such
It's
a-
just,
yeah.
it's like such a
wonderful track.
Literally.
I think I've read that some people dislike it for how preachy it can be at points.
I think that's the point.
But I agree.
Like it's literally called Neon Bible, the album, and like it's been recorded in a church, and there's a lot of like religious overtones. It's
There's-
gonna be preachy,
There's no second guessing to what.
and it's their
the message
social
is.
commentary album. It's their second one, so I think they've like embraced that basically.
Oh, they've absolutely embraced it.
That's like the theme, and that's like
They haven't half-assed anything.
exactly,
Basically.
and like they've. I just think it's just consistent, and it just does its job really well. Like Arcade Fire, they know what they're doing.
And to harken back to that sort of point you had about it being the underdog, I also see it as kind of the underdog out of for me, the big three.
Yeah.
Because I originally started listening to Suburbs when I sort of went, oh, Arcade Fire, a band
Yes.
I quite like. And then, I heard Wake Up from watching their live performances, and I was like, alright, I'll give this album a listen, and slowly grew to love that. And then sort of, I was madly in love with these two albums, and sort of never really listened to Neon Bible for some reason. It kind of felt like the redheaded stepchild of the three. And then I sort of
Trauma from Sam.
finally listened to it, and I was like, it might be Ginger,
Yeah,
but it's still pretty good.
it's a lovable album. Yeah, I agree.
I feel like that's how
therapy.
that's how friendships with me happen. Yeah, he might be a ginger bit.
He's alright.
When you get around to
He's
actually
got
listening.
heart, damn it.
This is exactly my motive for choosing this, because I chose this one,
You did.
and I was like, we need to do Suburbs, because you said you haven't listened to Suburbs and you haven't listened to this.
No.
So I was like, you need to listen to it. So this is a good way of forcing you to
Suburbs
do a podcast. And I was like, I can't leave out Neon Bible, because it's like, it's the love of underdog.
Yeah.
You got to do Neon Bible, and then Suburb, and then we'll talk about Reflector, because we have differing opinions. But yeah.
I feel like we won't have differing opinions once I listen to it more. I just never got around to listening to Reflector.
That's understandable. It's very sort of different sound.
Honestly, I've listened to the title track on Reflector and I was quite underwhelmed by it.
I really love that.
I didn't like how long-winded it was.
My friend JB has a this dance move specifically for Reflect.
Really?
Which we all learned in A level, and then the first time we ever went to a club, we were just all doing this move like around him, and it's like basically like windmill your hands and then like move from side to side, and it's like it just became like a default dance move for any of us, and I sometimes use it to like build up momentum. do the spinny hand reflector thing that Jamie does.
Build up club momentum.
Yeah, pretty much.
Move out my way. I'm doing the reflector
I'm
dance.
spinning.
When you want to cut through to the front.
Yeah.
No. That's when you.
I'm going to do that at field day when I need to get to the front, stand in front of
No, that's when you do the Tom York dance. You do the one
shuffling through, make yourself as narrow as
and then
possible.
You adjust your hat and then do a bit more.
You need to put in the gif of
This
Tom
is more
York.
gifts.
Tom
More
doing
gifts. Swatting bees away. Slapping people with a fish.
turning the washing machine.
Yeah. That's
Put all those gifs in.
Indeed. Actually edit it.
fun.
I've got
You didn't edit.
You got a date.
didn't
I've
edit
got a day to edit this fucking thing.
You didn't add the emojis in like
Shame on you.
I had like 2 hours to edit that as well, to
Yeah.
be fair.
Well,
Shame on you.
time to prove yourself, bitch.
Yep. Make it
Get
up.
those
Ooh.
gifts in, or think about our viewers going,
Yep.
what are these gifts? I don't know what these are.
You're going to really
things
emotionally
unpromised.
affect them.
Unsubscribe. That's what they're going to do. They're going to click
Unless
like.
I don't put the source of the
They're
GIF
going
in
to
the
click
description.
dislike.
They're gonna smash
No!
the whole fucking dislike
Just
button.
like my friend who
All the Kings... No, it's the Kings of Leon fans.
Yeah.
They're the ones who are going to dislike this
They
one.
can leave. Get out of here. Go, leave. We don't want you. Back off. Yep. Well, smash the dislike if you like. Unsubscribe if you love it.
Smash the dislike if you
Press the more
dislike.
fucking like button.
Yeah.
And I think we're done here.
Yeah.
That was a fun pseudo
Neon Bible. Yeah. Good. Listen to it.
Give it a listen.
Underdog. Listen to it.
Red-headed stepchild, but it's got heart.
It's got heart. Listen to it. See you later.
Bye.
Are we doing anything next time?
Oh yeah, I haven't said.
Maybe Kendrick, maybe.
Oh yeah, we discussed briefly.
But
If not,
just in case not, if not, Flying Lotus.
Yep.
My boy,
Typically,
while doing Flying Lotus,
wow.
probably if he's not my favourite electronic musician, he makes the best beats
Okay.
of anyone.
He makes the most interesting.
He produced
ish beats.
some stuff on To Pimp a Butterfly. I'm pretty sure he had a big hand in Wesley's Theory. And I mean, he just makes bangers on bangers on bangers. The album we're going to be
Bangers
talking
on
about,
bash on bangers.
Cosmogramma, is not the most banger-filled album he's got, but it's the most wholesome and cohesive and fully
wholesome
consistent,
meal.
rewarding thing he's made. So we're going to do
I
that.
look forward to it.
Looking
It's about
forward
time
to
I
it.
listen to some Fly Low.
And then in
Alexis.
contrast to potentially Kendrick, Kanye West.
Yeah. Gonna be
You've been
going to talk
delving
about
in.
Graduation. Is that the one I put in the
Yeah,
Google
you
Doc?
put
I can't
Graduation.
remember. Yes.
It's the first one.
Just
Sam's been paying attention to the Google Doc. Fuck is
I
this?
actually typed things into it. You missed when I was before we planned to do the sort of first impressions reaction thing.
Yeah.
I put in put for my next new. I just put like new Kendrick and then put it in bold and put it to like font size 40.
I saw it, yeah.
So just basically as big as it could
Scroll
go
down.
before the box forced it to make another line.
Kendrick.
Yeah. So yes, I've recently found a maybe not a love,
Appreciation.
but an appreciation, a definite large appreciation for Kane West's music, specifically his older music, and listen to Graduation and love it now. It's just such a colourful, fun album, and I hope you two both enjoy it, and
I'm
our
open
listeners enjoy it as well.
Yes. Well, we'll see you then.
Although it does have one fucking trash track. But other than
We'll
that,
talk about that. This is next.
We'll talk about it at some point.
yes. So, maybe we'll see you
What are you
next
talking
week
about?
with that. Maybe we'll see you next week with...
Maybe we'll just hit you with 50 minutes of, oh, King Kendrick!
I fuck with this!
Yeah.
Just,
just- Break a chair or two.
mate.
It's my room. But whatever, I'll let you do it.
Yeah. So,
It's Kendrick, I'll let you do it.
just prepare like multiple chairs. Like this bed is gonna get broken. I'm gonna
And
be
very
bouncing up
soggy
and
if
down.
it's
It's
as good
soggy
as it
anyway,
could be.
so
Yeah, exactly.
the wood's probably,
It's gonna rot.
rotten away. That's the effect
It's a
Sam
shame.
has.
We're not getting any of our damage deposit on this house back, are we?
No way.
Too much sog.
Way too much sog.
Right. This is
Well.
the proper goodbye. So goodbye.
Bye bye now.
See you later. You dragos.
Fuck off.
What are you talking about?